Hi, Bobby.
Hey, Somi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. We're just getting set up here and inviting
No
folks to
problem.
be part of this conversation. And I see
Sounds
that,
good.
yeah, thanks for being here. And I see In Peaks here as well. And of course,
Hmm.
more people should be joining shortly. So while we're doing this, it's always good to make sure everyone's muted. And if anyone else wants to come on stage, they can. In the meantime, Indra is also here too, is one of my co-hosts, and so she may also have questions for you as well. The way I'm going to run this really is, I'm going to ask you questions very specifically, and you're certainly welcome to answer them and share a bit about your work, your business, share your stories. If you have specific links you want me to share, we can put them up in the nest above for people to know more about your business and what you're doing. And everyone who's joining us, we invite you all to come up on stage and ask questions. Well, Somi will talk a bit more about her business, what she's been doing, and some of the lessons learned. But I think this is a Q&A session, and we want more people to be part of this. So, with that, I'd like to actually talk to my co-host here, Indra. Indra, how are you doing today?
Oh, hey, good morning, Bobby. I'm doing fantastic and lovely to meet you, Somi. And hey, warm welcome to Melanie and also everybody in the space. It's wonderful to have you here. It's fun actually. Our first guest for the new year, so I am super excited, Bobby.
Hey, me too. Exactly. Okay, that's good. And
And yeah, let's hope that lots of people come up and ask loads of questions, or they hop into the chat and also write ask some questions in the chat.
awesome. And Melanie's here too. Melanie, how are you doing? And actually, why don't we start by you introducing yourself, say hello, and then introduce yourself, and then we'll go back to Indra.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Melanie Mitchell Wexler. I'm a career coach, LinkedIn strategist, and job search expert, and I'm super excited to be here. This is a topic that I don't know a whole lot about, but I'm always wanting to learn more. And so it's a great opportunity for me to do that. So I'm excited to be here and really learn and listen in and just be able to ask some questions. And looking forward to finding out more. So
Indra, why don't you go ahead and do your introduction too?
Oh, thank you very much. Hey everyone, warm welcome to the space. I am Indra Bartona, a producer in the television and also in the film industry, a TV host, and also the founder of the Positivity Vibe Tribe community, which is a global community. So I am super excited about this. I also host spaces on Wednesday mornings at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and also on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those spaces we talk about, the Wednesday one is a lot about introverts, and on Wednesday we talk about all things in the positive space. Back to you, Bobby.
Okay, great. Thank you. And, my name is Bobby. I'm a professional speaker by trade. For the last 17 years, I've done 1,000 keynotes, workshops across 4 continents, some years of leadership, but then I became known as an authentic networking connection guy, and then personal branding, and then digital marketing because of my influence across multiple spaces. I have 650,000 followers across Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I'm also a five-time TEDx speaker, and we host a space every week called the Power Connection to connect with leaders and share things about how we connect with ourselves, our businesses, and our lives and our communities. And so that's what the topic today here is all about. So our guest speaker is Somi. I'm very excited to have her here, and she and I know each other from LinkedIn, where she's also an influencer on that platform, but she's doing some really great work in Web3 and building your business. So before we start, I want to ask everybody again, let's build this room up for Somi and for everyone here. The easiest way to do that is number one on the tweet. There's a nested tweet above where you can actually quickly retweet that, or you can quote tweet that and to invite people to come in here to share that with your network. You can also click on the arrow button on top there and send DMs to 20 different people in your network to join their space. And of course, you can also just take a photo of this, or you click on the bottom bubble there on the right to ask questions. But you can actually tag me, tag Melanie, tag Indra, tag Somi. And what's great about that is if you tag us, we'll see it, and then we'll retweet to our own followers. The next thing you know, I'm going to take your tweet to my 500,000 followers, which will bring more people in the room, but also bring you some extra followers. So it's a win-win situation. All right. So with that, Let's get started. Somi, well, I'd love to get you started by just having an introduction of yourself, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. So this is a time that usually one of the biggest Web3 influencers, Ryan Carson, has his space. So I think a lot of people are in that space. But our audience here today is really more people who are new to Web3, right? If I
Yeah,
understand correctly,
exactly.
we
We're
are
here to learn.
mainly talking for yeah. So people who are already in Web3, and this is like Ryan Carson's kind of prime time. But yeah, so I'm Somi. I'm the founder of InPeak. InPeak is okay. So we, as you know, Bobby, we are both LinkedIn top voices, and we've been LinkedIn fans for a long time. But when I came into the Web3 space, I realized that we really needed something like that for Web3. And also with my passion for content, and looking at how content creators are a little bit spread out in the Web3 space. We have most of us in Web3 use Discord. Discord is not really optimized for content. It's more of a chat room. So I wanted to build a platform that was kind of like a cross between LinkedIn and Masterclass. That was kind of like the idea. And we started out with the Masterclass side first because it seemed, that I thought that it would make more sense to try and, rather than try and create another social media first, to try and actually focus on the content side of things, because then the content will bring more people in. So I did that, and from there I started building this platform. It's going really well, super exciting. We started first by creating our own educational content, but now we are building a new feature where other communities can actually use our platform to organize their own content and to run their own live events, have their own. Everything is token gated. So the thing about Web3 is that everything is token gated, right? So it's a new way for content creators to monetize and to have like that premium for their users. So if you think about, you have your Twitter, which is free. You have your you have your YouTube, which is free. So the way I see it is that you would use those platforms like YouTube, like um, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., to build your initial audience, and then you would put some of your content behind the token gated wall, and that's where InPeak comes in. And the way that we're building it is that you have everything in one place. So you're going to have live events, pre-recorded video, pre-recorded audio, which is like your podcast, and also articles and newsletters. Everything that you want to token gate, you put on InPeak, and we've created we've been working on designing this really beautiful interface that would make it very easy, and yeah, super excited about it.
Can you tell us a bit about how this all kind of, I mean, where did you get the idea to, move into this space? Because is this what you've been doing before? Or like, how did this all evolve? I'm curious about how your company evolved. Are you able to hear my question? You're muted.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was talking,
No
and
worries,
then
no
I
worries.
realized I was muted. Yeah. So before I started in Peak, as you know, I have another business on which on LinkedIn most people know me from that, which is Smart Cookie Media, and it's a marketing agency. So I was that's how I became a LinkedIn top voice from there, and I created this documentary called The Millennial Disruption, which won several international awards, and I had people like Gary Vee in it, people from The Economist, Marie Claire, Bentley, Jaguar Land Rover, Steinway, all these big brands. And when I made that documentary, at the end of it, so this was we recorded in 2017. It came out in 2018, and at that time, in the last sentence of the documentary, I said, if you can't get your head around, because the documentary was about millennials, consumer behavior, and how the markets are changing. But at the end of it, I said that if you can't get your head around social media and the impact of the internet on business, what are you going to do when when blockchain technology is here? And the combination of blockchain and AI is going to completely take us into a whole new direction. And that time has come now, and we are now at a place where it's proliferating. It's really it's so fascinating. The more I learned about blockchain technology, the more I was convinced that this is the next iteration of the internet, and a whole new way of doing business. So I threw myself in it. I started learning it since 2017, and then I started getting really a lot more active in the space from 2020. And then by 2021, I felt like the market was ready for me to actually, start building this thing. So and also with Impeak, initially when we started, we were going to focus on bringing more women into the space and into uh, you know uh, technology and business. But we shifted, and we rebranded to Impeak because it was too small, the space. There were not enough women, and it didn't make sense, because it was like what we were working on and what we were building, there was no reason for it to be just for women. So we completely rebranded. And initially we were going to build the platform for us, mostly for our own content. And then over time, as I got more into Discord and I realized how poor content distribution was on Discord, I saw an opportunity to actually expand what we were building, so that it would actually replace Discord in terms of content distribution.
Thanks for sharing that. And again, if anybody in the audience wants to come on stage and ask Somi a question or share in the part in the discussion, we invite you to just put your hand up, and we'd love to bring you there. Indra and Melanie, I'll be very frank. I know very little about this topic, although I find Web3 to be very fascinating. I find NFT to be fascinating. In fact, last year I was actually hosting a couple of NFT spaces because I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And I found the community to be very supportive, very helpful. They were very inclusive. And so I did like that about it. But Indra and Melanie, if you have questions you want to ask too, feel free to pipe in anytime or put your hand up just so I know you have a question. Because I have lots, but I'm also a little bit lost too. So Indra, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. Somi, it sounds really fascinating what you're talking about, and yes, I am very curious, as Bobby and Melanie are as well. And actually, I actually have some NFT collections that are being worked on behind the scenes for the Positivity Vibe Tribe community. And our designer is Stephen J. Caggiano, so who's part of our team. So I am very, very curious. But I mean, you talked about a lot of terms and terminology, and I'd like to know, like, so if we already have, there's a lot of creators on this platform that already have, they have their brand. How are ways that we can start to integrate into the Web3 space? Because it all sounds a little bit overwhelming to many of us to figure out, well, how do we make a transition towards that? I mean, even with the NFT process, I mean, at the moment, it's it's pretty complicated, as in, you've got to buy ETH, and then you've got to get, it's gas fees to set them up and to print them and mint them, and all these things. So there's all these new things, these new territory of areas that we have to get our minds around. And also, it's not, I don't feel like it's the barriers to entry are not always easy or welcoming because of that factor of, oh, and then you've got to get a wallet, and then you've got to get this. And luckily, my husband was really into not into NFTs, but was into cryptocurrency. So that was a hurdle that I automatically was able to, go past. But for many people, it's this whole new terminology of languages, of everything else. And just because there's so many, creators that are small creators, that are brands on this platform, I'd love to know what your thoughts are, as in how are some ways that we can integrate this?
Of course, yeah. So this is why I'm here. This is what the stuff we do on InPeak, and we are here precisely, to help people like yourself, the awesome creators in other spaces to bring them into Web3. There's something really empowering about Web3 when you learn about it. The most important thing to think about is this idea of a new opportunity for shared ownership, or creating a new opportunity for ownership. There's so many things here to break down. And so let's try and get through all of them one by one. These things are a lot easier to do on the InPeak platform because it's visual. We can share screen, and we have a lot of free content on the platform. If you go to inpeak.xyz and then just log in with your email and password, so ignore the token proof option if you don't have token. Just log in with an email password, and then go to the on demand section, and just start scrolling down, and you will see there is like 10 free lessons, and it starts with what is Web3, and we start with every single one of these, explain all of them. Actually, today we have a session starting in 40 minutes, which is specifically about Discord. So basically, let's break it down to properly understand why we need this blockchain technology. What is the point of it? Why not just stick to email and password and all of the things that we already have? The best way to think about it is that if Web 1, the first version of the internet, was read only, remember, like you would go, I remember it, I am old enough that I remember those early days of the internet where you would go with the dial-up internet, and then you would log in. You would like, basically you could just read something. You couldn't interact with the internet. So that was read only, right? Then the second version of the internet, the second iteration, came with social media, where it became read and write. So you were able to comment, you were able to have a website, you're able to interact with the internet and actually have a dialogue. So you go from a monologue where the internet is talking to you to a dialogue where you're talking to it. Now, the third iteration of the internet, blockchain technology, is the next layer of it being built on top of the internet, which basically enables digital ownership. So this is revolutionary because before this we never had digital ownership. We only had we were able to send let's say, for example, you would send money from one person to another, but you were not actually sending money. There's this central bank in between. There are all of these different intermediaries in between that are that are kind of like making these financial rails possible in the back end, in the background. But with blockchain technology, you can actually physically is not the right word, digitally, right? But you can actually move the asset from one place to another. So when you have an NFT, you actually own that NFT. There is no intermediary. So it's not like, it's different, for example, with like a membership. For example, we released an NFT, our Gen 2 passes that we call them. And then we decided to roll that back and for various business reasons, we decided to roll it back. But once the NFT is out, I can't just, for example, I can't say that, okay, this is a membership that we are going to cancel or anything like that. People own that NFT. If they want to keep it for the rest of their lives, they can keep it. So I would need to come up with so many incentives and so many ways to, to discuss it with our members, and say, look, this is the business reason behind it, can you help us out here, and we can compensate you in different ways, that we give them different reasons for in order to, you need to align that community with you in a way that you would never need to do in Web2. Like, for example, if you are on LinkedIn or on social media, on Twitter, you can just change direction, you can do whatever you want. Nobody can hold you accountable for it. Whereas in Web3, you actually, when you create a community, and you give them a token, they're no longer just your audience. You don't have audience, you have token holders, you have holders. You can think of them as a form of stakeholders. They are not shareholders. This is a new idea. There are a lot of benefits to having that, because that creates a level of bond with that community, with those people for you, that that you as a creator, you own that relationship. So in a way that wherever you go, your audience is connected to you as long as they have that token in their wallet. To give you an example, on LinkedIn, thanks to this thing called smart contracts, and we have a lot of content around that, to explain it. So I won't go into too much detail around it, but there's this thing called smart contracts that are possible on Ethereum and some other smart contract blockchain. So Bitcoin is not one of them. So this is why I'm actually very bullish on Ethereum, because you can build these things. So with these smart contracts, so when you give an NFT to people, there is a smart contract that is created on the blockchain, and that smart contract has an address, and that address is a long string of numbers and letters. So on our platform now, I can take that smart contract address and I can put it into into the platform, and I can give access to everybody who owns that NFT to our platform. This opens up a whole new level of network effects that you would never get. Like you would never get that in LinkedIn, right? Or in Web2. So for example, let's say if we were if on LinkedIn, if all of my followers had an NFT, and if all of Bobby's followers had an NFT, then it would be so easy for us to collaborate. Because what I would say is that, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to invite all of Bobby's NFT holders to this thing that I'm doing. So in one small go, I would suddenly get access to all of Bobby's audience, and by and Bobby can give access to them, by approving that. And actually, technically, Bobby doesn't need to approve it. I can just put that contract address. So this is the thing about being permissionless. So I can just put in that string of number, but it makes sense for us to collaborate together, and it would make sense because I would need to let Bobby know, that we are giving access to all of your users or all of your NFT holders, and then Bobby can say that to his audience, say like, hey guys, like Somi is giving us access to this awesome event, we can all go and benefit from it, use it, right? So like, for example, right now we are giving access, a month free access to InPeak, to different communities. I could never do that in LinkedIn. So does that make sense? So there's this, the power of Web3 is tokens. And once you learn how to create tokens, and we are on our platform, one of our goals is, as time goes by, is we're going to make it easier and easier for communities to create their own tokens. But in the beginning, you really need somebody to hold your hand. Like in the beginning, when I first started, I did like the most stupid mistake that you could make, which was like, I created a token, and then instead of having people mint it, I minted it all to my wallet. So now I'm like stuck with, and I paid a lot of ETH for it when ETH was quite expensive, and I thought that I was gonna airdrop it to people in that way, but actually I should have never done it that way. I should have let people mint it, right? So there are these things, and you live and learn. And back then I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, and I didn't have anybody helping me, but now I know all of those things, and I'm sharing that knowledge with other people. I've made the mistake, I've the hard way, I've spent the money, and we are sharing that. And what we are doing in Peak right now, the best thing that that people can do is to start learning to use this technology, but then not necessarily go in the direction of, okay, now I'm going to teach everybody else to use this. While that is good, the most important thing that where it's really powerful is if you use the technology of Web3, but use it for other things. Let's say, for example, you're Gordon Ramsay. Let's say you're going to release an NFT, and you're going to get your 10,000 or 1,000 super fans. They buy that NFT, and they will get access to specific to special AMAs with you, on your channel on Impeak, or they will get access to specific content from you that only your token holders can have. Or maybe with that same token, they can go to a conference and see you there. They can come to your events, or maybe when they go to your restaurant, they get a discount, or maybe they get one meal free, because they have that thing. So you take those, you use tokens to create special experiences for your audience, and the people who buy your tokens are your special, like your true fans, basically. So that's how to think about it. Does that make sense? I know that there's a lot going on there, but this is like, in a nutshell, that's what the idea of token gating is.
Sure. And just to jump in there, also, Somi, so you're talking about the tokens, and basically then they're the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. That's what you're specifically talking
There
about.
are three types of tokens. So NFTs there are the tradable NFTs that uh, they have their own place. But nowadays, I'm a very big fan of soulbound tokens, which is basically also a kind of NFT, but it's not tradable. And the reason why I prefer that is because you don't want people to focus too much on whether the price of the token will go up or down. The problem is that right now, the NFT space is really overly financialized, and the most of the type of people who are in the Web3 and NFT space right now are speculating on these tokens, right? So there's a new kind of token called soulbound token, which means that it's only yours. You can't trade it, you can't transfer it, and I prefer those for most people because there's not that speculation aspect to it. Some people are attracted to NFTs. I think there's a time and place for both of them. So we are going to release normal tradable NFTs as well in the form of PFP, but we are going to do a free drop. Tokens are an amazing way of doing also marketing. So we are going to use it as a way to really get the word out. It's more of a marketing tool. So we're going to do a free drop, and then if people start to trade those, we will get a small amount of royalty on that. But you definitely cannot build your business model on royalties, because for those of you who are new to the Web3 space, recently we had this massive outpour of a lot of people did not wanting to pay royalties, and there was like marketplaces were not honoring royalties, and then we went back and forth, and now they are honoring. But I really think that it's not a long-term solution. So it should not be seen as a business model in itself. It's an amazing way to create loyalty with your audience, and you can, if you do soulbound tokens, you could set them to expire in a year. So you could create a model with it, which it can essentially work as almost like a membership. There's a lot of innovation being done in the space. We are also looking at a number of innovative things and tools. For example, right now we are airdropping a token, a guest pass to people, which we can retrieve after 45 days and burn it. So I can see that in the future on the Impeak platform, we will probably create something like that, where let's say Bobby comes in and he wants to issue his own token. We would make it so easy for him to do it, and do it in a way that it can be almost like a subscription token. But the reason to use a token as opposed to a normal payment is that when you have the token, it opens a whole new level of network effects, that you can collaborate with other creators and other communities, and you can create different tiers of those tokens. So you could say, for example, let's say like the first 500 of those tokens are lifetime, and they're for my true fans, and like they're like your inner circle. That's what we've done. Like we've got 450 Genesis tokens that are like our like it's our flagship, right? And we minted those at a point 0.1 ETH, and they are now over 1 ETH. And I know that that token could go up to 10 to 20 ETH over time because it's very limited. And as our network grows, more and more people want to have that, because that's like the key to getting as close to me as possible, to get my direct, uh, input or support. So for example, Bobby, you definitely need one of those Genesis tokens because it will be very helpful for you and yourself, Indra. So the way we see it is that you can create tiers of those. You can create your Gen 1, like your Genesis. You can have your Gen 2s that maybe you would give a 3-year access, and they don't get all of the things that the Genesis gets. And then from there, then you can go to creating like these annual type tokens. But I'm a big fan of tokens as opposed to normal subscription, because they enable a whole new level of programmability. So what is a token? A token is a unit of value on the blockchain, and it's a unit of value that can be programmed. So when you can program tokens, you can program incentives. When you program incentives, you can program behavior. So you can really use it in a way to build a very loyal, say community that is always going to be there for you. You look after them, they look after you, and you own that relationship, because not only you own that relationship, they also own that relationship. Because like, for example, let's say if Gary V, people who own a VFriends token, like we are giving access to people who have VFriends token to our platform, so they can benefit from that because they own that token, right? So I say it as an example. So you can then use this in the context of merchandise. You can use it in the context of fashion. You can use it in the context of travel. You can do this in the context of imagine when everybody has token. And our thesis is that eventually everybody will have token. Every community, every company will have a token. They will have token for their staff. They will have token for their customers. Everything will be tokenized. And when everything is tokenized, there's a whole new level of network effect, a whole new level of if you think social media had no network effect, tokens are gonna like 100x, 1000x, of network effects. And this is what it means to live in an exponential age. That's what we are all about. We are living in an exponential age. So the combination of token economy and artificial intelligence, the combination of these two things, is just going to drive humanity into a whole new level.
Wow. And just for people who are listening in now, we're listening to Sami share about using Web3 to build your business. And Indra and Melanie are sitting here listening. Normally, we host a room and we present ourselves as the experts, but Sami's got some incredible expertise that I am completely not even close to knowing and learning. But I'm so excited to have you here. And I want to invite a couple of people. Number one, make sure you follow Sami and her the account in Peak that's also in here. Check out the tweets above there to see some of the tweets that she's sharing out there in the world to start conversation and drive and build a community. And if you want to come on stage and ask a question or just share a comment or thought on what's going on or what your thoughts are, we'd love to have you up here. So just, put your hand up, come up on stage. And as always, please continue to share. There's the first tweet in the nest above actually is a promotion. Promote this tweet space, get more people into the room to hear all the incredible things that Sami's sharing with us today. I see someone's actually come up on stage. So I think I'm going to go directly to them right now to see if they have a question or comment. So bringing humanity together, welcome to the stage. Please go ahead with your question or comment.
Well, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today on Marvelous Monday?
Fabulous, man. Fabulous.
Well, it's another great day to be alive and another gift, not only to receive, but to give as well. The power of connection is truly powerful if we allow that to occur. But this is my take on when it comes to the NFTs, token space, and all those kind of things. We created all that. Totally get that and recognize that. But what is more tangible? An NFT or a token or people? Think about it. If the lights go out tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, what is going to move humanity forward? Is it going to be that NFT or that token that you have in your business or on your website or whatever? Or is it the very person about who you are? And the power of the connection that you really go out and seek those people to not only meet people where they are, but take them for who they are and build that bridge to them and with them in such a way. Not only does it work in their world, but also works in yours. And the very next thing that comes to pass, I truly believe it's a gift in and of itself, and truly the very definition of change, which is transformation. And how can we do that? I just truly believe we can do it from a place of connection that will lead to collaboration, that will lead into a greater community. We can do it in many different ways. There's just not one way to lead, ladies and gentlemen. There's not even one way to connect. There's multiple ways to do that. But when you really recognize what is out there for us to such a degree that we can actually harness the power of connection through multiple ways, but then again, recognize the one thing that really interconnects us all is that very humanity. What can we not achieve or do, not only in our lives, but in the lives of others?
Thanks for sharing your take there. And I think that, having started the Power Connection chat, we started the Power Connection chat many years ago. It used to be a tweet chat where for an hour we'd actually share tweets and ask questions. And then when Twitter Spaces came, I started inviting people to talk about various topics. But I see the Power Connection as the thread that binds us all from community to our work and whatnot. That said, I think there's, obviously it's a great topic and around Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3 in terms of how are we using technology and, for example, even a Twitter space like this to create those connections that eventually lead to more personal connections. So your point is well noted. And Swami, I'm not sure you had any specific ideas on, how are we able to use this technology and Web3 to, create the more powerful connection with the people in our communities.
Well, I can tell you that, I've been on LinkedIn for 10 years now, like from early on when they started to become a social media as opposed to just a place to dump your resume. And I have not had as strong a connection with anybody on LinkedIn who has been following me or connected to me as I have had with my token holders over the past year, or like not even year, like since September when we started, when we released our Genesis token. So it's like over the past 5 months basically, right? So was it September, October, November? Yeah, like I'm just trying to count my months there, but you know what I mean, like the nobody's saying that tokens are supposed to replace humans. We are saying that tokens are an amazing way to create a closer connection between creators and people who are interested in what they're creating. And actually, it brings us closer because we have this shared ownership. Like, I feel a sense of duty to my tokens. I have to tell you, to a point that we have Impeak has got obviously we have got investors, like we raised 1 million pounds or £1.2 million so far for our pre-seed, and now we are about to raise our seed fund at 30 million. And the way I see it is that I feel a closer sense of responsibility towards my token holders than I do to our investors. On a weekly basis, we have town halls. I'm explaining things to my token holders in a way that I think of them as, I have this incredible sense of duty towards them that I don't feel the same way about our our original investors, because my original investors are not there day to day. They're not following what we are doing, right? All I know is that eventually I need to make them money, but and there will be an exit for them. But my token holders are the ones who are there every day, and I feel a sense of duty to make sure that they get value from being in that community. I can't think of a better sense of connection and community than that.
Love that. Thanks. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Indra, did you put your hand up, or were you gonna say something? Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
I did. First of all, before I share my thought, I just wanted to also say thank you to my partners, Bunsen and Beaker, the account there, the cute dog account. Thank you so much for joining us. Jason, always appreciate you and all your support for coming to the space. And also to Success Minded, another friend who is actually the person that we do a wonderful space on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to both of you for attending the space. And then I also wanted to respond, that person isn't there anymore that raised this, but I feel being in also kind of, in that area of the wellness space, that money and also tokens are sources of energy, and energy isn't bad. It's just the energy that we have in this world. And so, there's nothing that's good, there's nothing that's bad. And also the other thing is, look, money is printed digitally in a digital format. And so the creation of, NFTs or tokens, however you want to term that, and the different levels of them is probably organic, in nature, because we're creating other things and we are creators. So that was just a thought I wanted to throw in.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Melanie. I know this topic may not have as much, but what were your thoughts so far in the conversation?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm learning so much, so thank you. And I, just even on that same conversation about, connection and, people, the way I'm getting it is that this is also a way to you find the people that you are resonating with what your message is, and in a even possibly a more intimate way, because this is really targeting your audience. And correct me if I'm wrong in that. So I'm literally just absorbing. I have learned so much, and just in a short period of time, just even understanding just step by step. So I'm sure, and anybody that's listening, if you're like me, this is a whole, like, I know a lot. I know very little about this topic, just whatever you hear on the news. And I guess one question I have is, obviously there's a lot in the news about, what's happened to the NFT space, and in terms of, what we've heard in terms of, the market and things of that nature. What Yeah, I'd love to know Somi's thoughts in terms of, like, is this a good time to still continue to buy NFTs? Like, is this a good time to get into that process? Is that because I know that question happens a lot just with the stock market, with people and recession talks and things like that. But just your, the thoughts on what's happened in the news recently with NFT sales, and is this a good time for that?
So the problem is that, we need to stop thinking about NFTs as a form of investment the way that we are thinking of stocks, right? So NFTs are really a membership in a community. So you need to think to yourself, is this a community that I want to be part of? And this is why for our community, we have two options. There is the option of buying the tradable NFT, and which is the Genesis Pass, and then we have the option of buying the the Soulbound token, which is like based on the ETH price now, it's like $150. It's like nothing, and it gives you lifetime access to the platform, right? So you need to think to yourself, is this a community that I want to be part of? And forget about the price of the NFT. Like, I bought an NFT to be part of a community called Proof when the price of their NFT was 74 ETH, and I bought it at 74 ETH. The price of that NFT is now 32 ETH. I don't care. I'm part of that community. I bought in to be close to, it's Kevin Rose's community. So I bought it to be close to that community. But to be honest, like if I didn't have the level of knowledge that I have about NFTs, I couldn't have made the best of it. So it's a very it's like not for the faint of heart, not for the beginners in some ways. So basically, it depends on what matters to you, and whether this is a community that, like for example, our NFT is the Genesis Pass. You need a Genesis Pass to use our platform to put on your own events and have your own Talking Gate channel. So the value of that, it's like it's not comparable to anything like the suite of the whole suite of like things that you get with that NFT is just so incredible. The value that you get from it is so incredible, and there's only ever going to be 450 of them. So so with that in mind, like who cares if the price of it goes up a little bit or down a little bit? It's just that the fact that it's tradable is more of a it's just the icing on a cake, that if you ever wanted to sell it, you could sell it. Like if you never wanted to use it again, you could sell it. So so you have to not think of NFTs as an investment. You have to think about, is this a community that I want to be part of? Do I believe in this founder? Do I care about do I care about this founder? Is this founder bringing value to the space? Is this founder going to build something that I can benefit from over in the long run? So that's my answer to that. So if anybody says, if you ask, is this a good time to buy ETH or Bitcoin? That's a separate question. But to ask, is this a good time to buy NFTs? You have to think of NFTs in a different way. NFTs are membership in a community, right? And if you were thinking of whether this is a good time to buy ETH or Bitcoin, I think it's never a bad time to buy ETH or Bitcoin, because you're gonna need it. It's gonna once this space starts proliferate, you're gonna end up paying so much more for that same ETH. So I can never have enough ETH. It just doesn't stay in my wallet. It's like just constantly flies, because I have so many use cases for it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. And I know that we have someone waiting on stage here. Roger has been on stage for a while. Thanks for coming up. And anyone else want to come up on stage, feel free, because, Sami will have to leave shortly. So Roger, go ahead with your question or comment today.
Yeah, it's very difficult to follow up with the speakers you have here today. Somi, I could listen to you all day. You're a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for speaking. Bobby, I met you through a powerful connection. A woman named Rachel from Opolis. She spoke in one of the spaces, and she led me to your space several weeks ago. And I've listened in and listened in. I've learned so much. I've learned from your speakers. I've learned. I didn't even know what a LinkedIn was. I thought it was something from a long time ago. I didn't even know it was still around. But I logged into it and put a profile up, and oh my goodness, it is bigger than you could ever believe. Full of people and just projects and stuff. I mean, I could lose myself just on LinkedIn all day long. So. I wouldn't have found that connection hadn't it been for finding your space, Bobby, and meeting the connection of Rachel. So there is a huge power of connections, and I'm sure I'll be back and I'll meet more of you all. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm learning every day, and I appreciate what you're doing here, Indra as well, and Melanie. Thank you so much for being here. You all are fantastic people, and I love listening.
Wow, we need more people like Roger on stage. Thanks so much, Roger. We love the love. It's always sweet to have people coming up stage and giving value and sharing value. Yeah, I mean, we do this because, we give our time, we give back, we build community. I find Twitter Spaces to be one of the best places for doing so. In fact, social audio in general, I do 2 LinkedIn audio rooms per week. I also do a Clubhouse room, and of course, Twitter Spaces is my jam. So I love Twitter Spaces because it's my favorite way to build community. And so having people like Sami is great because we haven't actually had too many guest speakers. She and I were talking on LinkedIn actually, and she sent me a message about Web3 and what am I doing with it? And I was like, hardly anything. And I was like, hey, maybe you should come to a space and talk about it. So I'm really glad it's worked out because she's been incredibly knowledgeable with that. As you know, someone else is joining us on stage too, which is great. So I want to make sure they get a chance to speak to Web6 Alpha. Go ahead with your question or comment.
I think really just trying to bring better clarity for the Web3 community. You're talking about build your business one thing on Web3, and I'm looking at actually just trying to clarify for some of the new people that are looking to join this space is that essentially what you were doing is transferring intellectual property and bypassing that through doing peer-to-peer transactions without any intermediary. So I think really Web3 is not Web3, it's Web 2.5. I just want to bring that out to the public and get everybody's thoughts. Because
Yeah,
there's
definitely. You could say, for example, on our platform, we are making it possible both for Web 2 and Web 3, technology to, it's never black and white, right? So it's there's going to be different levels, different layers um, of a decentralization and peer-to-peer connection. The reason is that there are certain things that a lot of people went really heavy on DAOs and decentralized autonomous organizations in the beginning, and it turns out that a lot of them were actually not exactly decentralized autonomous organizations. They were more like decentralized, like the autonomous bit wasn't quite there, and then they realized that actually the decentralized bit doesn't always work perfectly. So we are, going to go in between the 2 points of this, the two sides of this spectrum, and until we find our groove, right? So it's not like, for example, if Bobby wanted to have build a Web3 focused business, it's not like he has to completely let go of what he's doing on the Web2 side. But over time, more and more, I do believe that everything will become tokenized. I think that tokens are so powerful and they are so efficient. Think about, like, if Princeton University had a token, and also if say, for example, Harvard University had a token, and they wanted to collaborate on something, right? Like they wanted to share resources. So all they had to do is just add the smart contract address of the other one, and everybody who had that token in their wallet could access it. I mean, when people understand the level of network effect and efficiency that tokens open up, everybody is going to be wanting to be on board with it. And I remember going back to the question from Indra earlier. So there's the non-fungible tokens, which are tradable. Then there's the soulbound tokens, which are non-tradable, and then there's also another kind of token called fungible token, which is more basically like money, right? Like that's the currency bit. That's like ETH, Bitcoin, these BTC, these are the fungible tokens. So you can use a combination of these three types of tokens. And until a year ago, soulbound tokens were not really talked about. They were not a thing. All of a sudden now everybody's talking about them. People are realizing the value of them. Who knows? Like in 6 months' time, there might be a new kind of token. So we are really innovating in this space, and it's so important to understand all of these different things. Like, for example, right now, one of the biggest things that I'm super excited about that seems to be on the horizon this year is this idea of logging with Ethereum, right? And to be able to get rid of all your passwords, and all you would have to do is just like log into everything with your wallet and with your and there are security concerns around that, but all of that is being ironed out and being worked on. So super exciting, this space. And whether you call it Web 2.5 or Web 3, Web 3 is a marketing term, and it just helps us from a marketing point of view. It just helps us get the message across, but it's not about it being technically 100% correct. Web 3, it just helps me explain it to people a bit better.
Awesome.
You have another question? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think really people need to understand that this is data encryption transfer. Web3 and a lot of it, yeah, absolutely. It's a marketing mechanism to get people involved in the so-called cryptocurrency. Um, but so far as like getting into the business structure, if you're developing somewhat of an NFT or utilizing a token, there is some government oversight that you're being involved with, especially with a lot of these projects that are doing these non-fungible tokens that are actually pushing out private placement, not licensed with the SEC, pushing out investment via vehicles out there that solicit investments. Um, and that just kind of violates, and I think that's what we got to look at when we're developing, like what is the proper structure on setting up a Web3 business. And also just not regurgitating and pushing out the same rhetoric that's been out here in the marketing with talking about decentralization. If we're looking at decentralization, then we can't operate a Web3 business and say that we're decentralized when we're operating on AWS. Uh, it's it's just asinine,
100%.
but I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you. I think that we need to be clear about what we are talking about here. But you need to know that a lot of Web3 businesses are starting out less decentralized and then decentralizing. So, for example, in our case, the back end of the platform, it would still make sense for it to be on something like AWS. As the community grows and we bring in more token holders and we raise funds, yes, you're right in the sense that the backbone of the business, we still need VCs, right? Like to build a level of the kind of business that we are building, it's very, very difficult for that to be all done in a way that tokens are more like, the way I see it, they're more like Kickstarter, right? That like it's very hard to build the entire business on tokens to begin with, especially when the space is so small. So you still need VCs, you still need mechanisms to grow the business, and I do agree. But for example, the part of the business where where you have the relationship with the token holders, that's the bit, like the token itself is the true innovation here, and then the ethos of this token economy is that it's for it to become as decentralized as possible, but what in a way that it's still manageable, that it can still run, right? And as long as you have that level of transparency with your token holders, that is clear. Like, we are not a DAO, we are a company. I have always explained, right? We are a Web3 business. We are not a DAO, we are not a nonprofit. I'm building the next LinkedIn. That's what I want to do. I want to build a LinkedIn of Web3. And the token holders have a lot of benefits that they would never have in something like LinkedIn. I've been creating content for LinkedIn for 10 years, and I don't have any of any of the benefits that we are creating as we are building this new thing. So I would say that yes, you could say it's a Web 2.5, but our goal is eventually to build a protocol, and for this protocol to be run by the INPIC members themselves, right? But we need to get to a place where we have the financial ability to build that, and to have the right kind of infrastructure to build that. So in order for me to get there, I still need to raise money. And when you raise money, you're still beholden to those investors to some degree. So there's no perfect solution, but yeah, I take your point, and I think that it's entirely correct what you said, but it doesn't take anything away from the power of tokens, and like the fact that somebody like Bobby could issue his own token, and he could start building a business, a Web3 business to accompany what he's already doing, and probably eventually pretty much all of his his followers and people who like what he's doing will become his token holders, because if they want to continue to access, so he can always have like some free content, and then he can put some of the things behind that. I think it's so powerful for creators and for for people who are building something in a way that I much prefer having token holders than just having customers. I don't want customers. I want token holders, because that creates a whole new level of closeness with those people.
Wow, a great conversation. Again, we're talking about how to use Web3 to build your business, and Somi's our expert today, sharing some really great knowledge. I'm not sure how much longer you can stay with us, but for those who have questions or want to share, I mean, if you're enjoying this, one thing that you should know is that there's obviously a replay here. This is recorded, so if you want to share the replay afterwards and let people know here the 2 or 3 things that I've learned, if you want to take a photo of this and share it on Twitter or Instagram, anywhere else, and say here are the things we learned. The Power Connection chats every week, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern for the most part. And, Indra has been my co-host for several months, and Melanie's been joining in too for a little while. So make sure you follow Indra, Melanie. Make sure you follow Somi. Make sure you follow InPeak, and check the tweets and above there to see, how you can support Somi and what she's doing, as well as all the other things that we're up to. So for that, on that end, if anybody wants to go on stage, ask a question, or the 2 hosts or the other 2 people on stage want to ask a question or share a thought, you're more than welcome to. I'll stay on a little bit longer, at least until Somi's able to stick around. If I may, I'd like to go to a more basic question, because I think one of the things that I think would be helpful is 2 things that stop us from doing anything in life. Doesn't matter what it is, business, health, weight, love, relationships. One is uncertainty of what to do, where to start, and where to go. And the second is overwhelm of, oh my gosh, there's like 10 different things I need to do, or 100 different things I need to do. And so that mindset thing, I think, is a big challenge for myself and as well. I mean, somebody's mentioned my name multiple times about it. If Bobby did this and Bobby did that, I was like, oh God, I'm not doing anything. So, so I think the question I want to ask is, for someone like myself who's a newbie and a beginner, like I'm a beginner, like I know a bit about NFTs, I know a bit about the contracts, and I have a couple of NFTs, and I was involved last year. Then when everything kind of fell apart, I stopped listening in, or stopped really engaging as much. But I do believe that certainly there's a future in this, and I definitely see the opportunity, which is why I'm still talking about it and why it still excites me. But I guess for business owners who want to get started, I mean, getting started and doing those small baby steps to at least get a little bit of movement, right? I mean, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the 1 step. So I guess what I'd like to ask is, what are those first 1, 2, or 3 steps really for those of us who have not been involved with using Web3?
I love that question, and I just wish that I had the resources that I have now, that I've now created for other people. So honestly, the best thing to do is just, it's completely free. There are 10 lessons, and actually one of them is live right now, so people can go and join. Just go to impeak.xyz, log in with an email and password, create a free account, go to the on-demand section, and then under on demand, there's a segment that says getting started with Web3. Go to that, and there's then it's stepping into Web3. There's 10 lessons for free. And then after that, there is another one that says essential guide for beginners. And there's another one called Web3 for your industry. And, then there's Web3 for entrepreneurs and marketers. And then there is careers in Web3. So, but the first 10 lessons are free. Just go and watch them. Some of them are already recorded. Some of them are upcoming. So you can join them. You can, register your place and join them. We have these daily live sessions with Q&A. That's the first step. So just go and watch this stuff. The second step is, actually, when I was giving my TED talk on this topic, I actually said the first step should be to create a wallet, but you need to actually know how to create a wallet. So I'd say the first step is go on impeak.xyz, create a free account. And then one of those lessons is about how to create a wallet. So the second step is create an Ethereum wallet. Okay. Then you create that wallet. That's like your first step. And then once you created your wallet, then send an email to support@impeak.xyz and say, can I please have a 45-day guest pass? And we will airdrop a free 45-day guest pass to your wallet. And once you have that guest pass, you're now in Web3, because welcome to the blockchain. You now have a wallet. You have a token in your wallet which is valid for 45 days. So and there is a video that teaches you how to use that token to log in. So that at that point you log out of the platform and you log back in with this new token that you have. So step 1, go to impeak.xyz and watch the first 10 free lessons. Step 2, create an Ethereum wallet. It can be a MetaMask wallet, ideally a MetaMask wallet. It's the easiest one. Just stick to MetaMask. Don't faff around with anything else. And then the third step is send an email to support@impeak.xyz and say, can I please have a guest pass? And we will give you a guest pass, no question asked. You don't even need to say anything. Just say, can I please have a guest pass? Here's my wallet address. And in those 10 lessons, we also teach you how to copy your wallet address. You just airdrop your wallet address is public. You don't have to worry about it. There's nothing special about it. It's just a long string of numbers and letters, and you put that, you send us that wallet address and say, can you please send me a token to this? And then once you get that, with that token, you have 45 days access to the platform. You also get access to our Discord. So one of the lesson that's live right now is about Discord. So you can come into Discord, you can meet the Web3 community. Everybody's very friendly. They will help you with anything you want. Any question you have, everybody will be there. They will help you. Just come in. There's no stupid questions. I honestly wish that somebody had made these things available to me when I was starting out, because I got lost in a sea of information on YouTube, and I had to make all the mistakes by myself, lose money, get scammed, all of those things. We are there to help you not to have any of those things, to make it as easy as possible.
I love that. That's fantastic knowledge, and I already have MetaMask, and I already have something set up. So all you gotta do now is go and ask the question. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I will send you just send me your MetaMask wallet address on LinkedIn, and I will send you a
All right, sweet potato. I love this.
Quick
go ahead,
question.
and then Rachel after
Sorry,
that.
Bobby. Yeah, I just have a really quick one. Selmi, if you have a different type of wallet, does that still work with what you just mentioned to go to the website? Because I actually have a Coinbase wallet, and
as long as you have within your the problem with the Coinbase wallet, do you mean on exchange, the Coinbase exchange, or Coinbase wallet? Because there's the Coinbase exchange and then there's a Coinbase wallet. Which one are you talking about, or do you not know?
I don't know. I'd have to ask my husband.
Okay, so I recommend stick to MetaMask. Just go and create a MetaMask wallet. Okay, so go to the platform, and under stepping into Web3, the 10 lessons that I said, lesson 2 is an introduction to digital wallets. In that lesson, we teach you how to create a MetaMask. Just stick to MetaMask, because the one that on Coinbase, you're probably talking about your Coinbase exchange. That's not that's basically a custodial wallet that they own it, right? So it's just too complex. Just focus on, just get a MetaMask wallet. You're going to need it. It's going to be used for everything. MetaMask is like the first step. It's just so easy.
Yeah, and I'll say that I had the same thing. So I actually was on Coinbase as well, Indra, but then my NFT buddies told me to switch to MetaMask, and I did, and it's actually way easier and way better. So I would recommend that too. Hey, look at me! I actually have some knowledge. Yay!
Of course, just one last thing, and of course, once you start actually buying ETH or NFTs, you don't want to keep it in MetaMask. Then you're going to move it to a cold wallet. But don't worry about that now. For just getting a free token, it's okay to use MetaMask. MetaMask is like your gateway, right? So
awesome.
So we teach.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for waiting, and come on up. What do you want to share with us today?
I want to start by just thanking Somi for going over all of the main starting points in Web3. I think, yes, having a MetaMask is essential for just doing transactions on the blockchain. I actually, during the space, have tweeted out 3 things. So For any attendees that want to check this out, the first tweet I shared is if you want to start your own business and become self-sovereign, I shared a link for that. You would just click I'm interested, and it can walk you through the different steps to incorporate yourself as your own business, especially if you're working in Web3 and earning in crypto. I met Opolis, and we help people who want to work in Web3 to become self-sovereign, to democratize employment through giving them all the benefits they need, like all the things they would get at a corporate position while doing everything that they love and having the freedom of freelance work. So that's the first thing I shared. The second thing I shared is what is a DAO? I think DAOs are really essential and a really awesome starting point for people getting involved in Web3. It was for me because I wanted to learn more about these concepts. So I joined a DAO called Bridge Builders DAO, and I had no idea what anyone was talking about for the first couple weeks, but I kept showing up. And I just had I kept repeating the process of showing up every week, learning a little bit more, and then eventually things start to click. And it can be a lot at first. So I recommend, for me, what worked was joining a DAO. So the third tweet that I shared is the Discord channel for Bankless DAO. So as an educational resource, as a collaborative platform, I think Bankless DAO is the best starting point. And it's weird because I started my Web3 journey on a different DAO, and then I ended up at Bankless DAO as a contributor. So I kind of went in reverse, but there's just a guild for whatever your interests are. I think it's so cool. There's like a writers guild. There's a research guild. For me, I'm on the DAO relationships guild. That's more for biz dev people that want to, form partnerships and, do growth for the organization. And for those of you that really don't even know what a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So DAOs are enabling people to work in a way that we've never seen before, where there's autonomy, where we all vote together on decisions, where everyone is an equal, right? And I feel like that's so needed, in these hierarchical organizations, these employment structures. It really, I feel like, doesn't fully empower people and tap into their full potential. And what we're seeing with DAOs is that it gives people more equal opportunity. So yeah, I love DAOs. That's where I got started. And on these 3 tweets, you guys can learn what is a DAO in crypto. Join the Bankless DAO server. You can sign up for different roles. It's very inclusive. It allows anyone to join and collaborate if you want to join. So yeah, check out these 3 tweets: how to start your own business and become self-sovereign, what is a DAO, and the resource to join a DAO.
Thank you so much, Rachel. We should definitely talk. I just followed you back, so let's
awesome.
talk. Yeah?
My DMs are
I
open.
know I'm a big fan of Bankless, and Carly Riley is one of our educators, and she's on the platform quite a lot. So
yeah,
let's talk.
we did a campaign. So Bankless and Bankless DAO. Bankless does the YouTube videos, and I highly recommend, if you guys want to learn more about Web3 concepts, check out the Bankless YouTube channel. There's so many good interviews.
It's quite advanced though, right? It's quite advanced.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'd say go and watch these 10 lessons that we teach first, and then throw yourself. Bankless is amazing. I love Bankless. I listen to it every day.
Just a heads up, if anyone's going to ETH Denver, I see some Web3 folks in here. So the largest and longest running Web3 conference, or like our founder likes to call it, a community innovation festival. It is going on in the end of February to March. So I'm actually coordinating a meetup with Bankless DAO and Metagamma Delta DAO, which is a DAO dedicated to onboarding more women and female-led projects into Web3. So I'm doing a meetup with them next month. So I'm really excited about that, and just ETH Denver in general.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm waiting for my US visa. I'm in London. I'm a British citizen, but because I was born in Iran, I need a visa. So I'm waiting for my visa. So I don't know if I can make it to ETH Denver, but I would love to. But let's talk.
Hey, we hope that you make it out next year. It's a really, really amazing experience.
Are you in Iran right now?
Yeah. No. I've never been to Iran.
Okay.
Like since I've been here, but just because I was born there, I need a visa.
And just so everyone knows, okay, we have a lot of people just join the States. Want to make sure we navigate this properly.
So I need to jump off very soon. I can stay for another.
Okay. So let's quickly go through this. So Randa, you were up on stage first. What's your question or comment? Everyone else, please mute yourself.
Perfect timing because I just wanted to ask Somi before you go. I wanted to know what was your biggest motivator when it came to do something like a LinkedIn, but it's like a new LinkedIn. I'm really interested in that. I
Yeah,
wanna
it's a
hear
good
your perspective on
question.
it.
So,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when I'm about the same age roughly as Mark Zuckerberg, and I've always like looking at what he's done and thinking to myself that because I was born in Iran and I left Iran, when I was 23, and I just felt like that I missed an entire era of tech development and tech innovation because if I was a white man living in the US, I would be in Silicon Valley and I would be doing what those guys have done. But I was at that time, I was starting trying to get out of a forced marriage in Iran, and I was like trying to leave the country. So I felt like I'd really missed a whole a whole opportunity for an experience in technology. I've always been fascinated by technology. And I studied. I've got 2 master's degrees in political science and philosophy of science and technology. So I was, and I'm a tech philosopher, right? So I wanted to understand, the foundations of how technology is changing humanity. And when I was doing a lot of research on AI, and I kept coming across this word blockchain, and I started reading about blockchain technology. And the first thing that really stood out for me, I started reading books about blockchain. So most people got into blockchain because of the speculation, because of buying Bitcoin. For me, it wasn't like that. I actually first learned about the technology. When I read that, the first thing that came to my mind was that this is going to disrupt Facebook. All right, I'm in. you know, like basically there was like that was my motivation. I was like, this is gonna disrupt Amazon, it's gonna disrupt Facebook, it's gonna disrupt Google, and all of that phase that I missed. Now it's my
Mm.
opportunity to now is my opportunity to be part of the next wave of technology. That's my motivation, and I really wanted to build something that was better because I could
Yeah.
see that, like I said, for 10 years of being a content creator on LinkedIn, I have nothing to show for it other than them giving me obviously a LinkedIn top voice, which I very much appreciate, but it's like not the same as I don't own my audience. I have a limitation of how many messages I can send. I have a limitation. Of course, there needs to be some kind of limitation so that people don't get spammed. But there is a much better way of doing it. Why not create a token so that people can message each other based on the kind of tokens that they have, and there's a much better way of doing this with tokens than it is done on social media. And the fact that there's like Apple taking 30% of our if you have an Apple if you have an app in App Store, them taking 30% of it, like it doesn't have to be like that. So we don't own our data, we don't own our relationships, we don't own our business models. I'm just
Yeah.
tired of that.
Yeah.
And
That was it.
again, I know you're leaving soon, so guys, I want to get to questions before she leaves. Heather, you're up next. Heather, you there? I'll give you 2 seconds. Heather, go
Hey,
ahead.
sorry, I'm here. How's it going, Bobby?
Good. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was talking to my husband. Did you have a specific question, or do you just want me to share my thoughts?
Well, I mean, Somi's leaving soon, so I think if you don't have a question, can you wait for a second? Then I'll get someone else as a question in the order.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
have a question for me,
Yeah.
I'm
So
here.
let's.
I don't have a specific question, but Somi, I did DM you, so hopefully we'll talk
Okay,
again later.
great. Let's
No worries.
go to
Thanks.
Sterling. Sterling, your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, briefly, no question, but just 2 lines. I just wanted to let you guys know that ETH Denver, definitely go. I went last year, amazing. Opolis, amazing entity. We actually met with the folks at Opolis at ETH Denver. I'm the founder of Black Freelancer, and it's the largest community of Black freelancers in the world built on the Near protocol. And so if anyone's looking to hire any knowledge workers or creatives, definitely check us out. and we're also
Message me Sterling as
Yes,
well.
there's so much alignment. Near is one of our major partners, man. I definitely feel like there's a ton of alignment, and I see your banner has consensus on it. So we
Come
definitely need to
on.
connect.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, like
hoping to make
anyone,
it to
DMs are
consensus
open.
soon.
We're actually launching next week during Black History Month. Get ready to share and like us on Product Hunt, please. And then in March, Women Freelancer, that's WOMXN. Freelancer, that's our Twitter handle. Woman Freelancer is launching.
Wow.
We haven't announced it yet, but this is the announcement. But it's
Our,
launching
our
in March.
platform is built to empower freelancers and give them the tools that they need to thrive. And
Hell
I'm
yeah.
leading partnerships at Opolis, so let's definitely talk, man. If there's a way we
Yeah,
can
we can
support each
talk with
other's
both of.
projects.
Yes,
Happy
I'm
to
trying
talk
to.
with
We're
both of
trying to
you.
connect, especially Opolis, because it's all about sovereignty and it's all about helping the freelancer. It's like this topic. I was like getting ready to step into a meeting, but I was like
Yes.
using Web3 to build your business, and I saw
Yes.
Opolis. I was like, oh yeah, we gotta chat. Anyway, I know this is a
Okay.
busy stage, and I know Sami's leaving. I wanted to make sure Sami, you knew that we were on the radar because it seems like what you're
Yeah,
building
let's
is similar
talk.
to what.
Let's
So we
talk,
should all
Sterling.
pull up and
We will
chat, and
get
if
you
we all want to
on
do
the.
a
I,
separate
I
conversation,
love all
yes.
this
Anyway,
connection, community building, guys.
So
This
we
is
have.
great, and that's one of the reasons why we run these rooms, right? The power of connection. Josh, go ahead quickly.
thank you.
Yes, sir. This is a great space. It sounded like there's a lot of education going on. I fight fraud in DeFi. We're fighting to prevent and protect rug pulls, scams from hitting you. Actual preventive measures, not just reactive and cleaning up the pieces afterwards. So it's funny you mentioned consensus when it comes to NFTs. This is going to be there's going to be some gray areas around what is a rug pull. The community is going to have to agree and find consensus on whether they tried hard enough, invested enough of the mint, or whether they were, felt like it was a rug pull. So consensus is going to be a big part of our NFT portion of rug rebates, which is where we try to make people whole, give them some remediation, spread the pain out across the whole ecosystem through our token by taxing the token rather than just having it hit individuals very, very painfully. So I just wanted to make people aware of, if there are newcomers and there's education in the space, just how much pain can be out there. But that there are builders working on chain with technologies to make this better next time around.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Josh. Great contribution. I appreciate it. Paul, you're up next.
Hello. Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Paul. I'm a lawyer. Actually, I'm practicing tech space all the way in Tanzania. I'm pretty thrilled to be here. It's my first time, and I'm really interested to learn about blockchain, NFT, and crypto in particular. Can someone around here recommend where can I start? Or where can I learn more? I want to, to be a crypto lawyer, NFT, and all that. I want to legal perspective, all the basics, or something like that. Thank you.
I think I covered this one earlier, Bobby. I mentioned the first three steps, so that's covered. I do need to jump off if everybody's is cool with that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Tommy.
And
Share where we can find you, where we can
thank
follow
you.
you. Let people know that. Just promote yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Just reach me on Twitter. Nowadays, I spend more time on Twitter because of Web3. I'm less on LinkedIn actually, but just reach out to me. My DM is open.
Thanks, Tommy. Really appreciate you being here. Really enjoyed it.
And the platform is impeak.xyz. So yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Follow them both. Follow her, and yes, the replay will have all the stuff that she said about that. So I think you can just watch the replay and you'll get all that information. And finally, Heather is now you're up. Heather, what do you want to share with us today?
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. And I want to make sure, like you said, if anyone had questions for Somi, that she could answer them before she had to jump off. Somi, nice to meet you. My thoughts around using Web3 to build your business is, if you're like me and you have skill sets and you don't necessarily want to start a whole Web3 company, but you want to contribute to the space, think about the skill sets you already have and how you can use them in Web3. I'll give you an example. My core skill is writing, editing. Last year, I worked with someone on their white paper for a Web3 NFT project. So, whether you are already a freelancer or you want to dip your toes into the Web3 space, think about those Web2 skills and how you can contribute to Web3.
100%, I agree with that. The only thing I would say is that if you don't know the culture and the terminology, it's a little bit difficult, right? So even if they don't want to build a Web3 business, I find it very hard now to hire people who are not really into Web3 because it's really hard to. It's a different culture. So definitely, people need to actually know the culture, I'd say.
Definitely. I should caveat that by saying before I even took on that project, I did a whole lot of research, a lot of education base before I even started that project.
Yeah.
So really quit Somi.
Fantastic.
Something I want to say also is that it's a very inclusive community, right? And it's okay to not know. We're all still learning, and we're all still so early in the space. So, if you were to join a DAO like Bankless DAO, or for instance, I joined Bridge Builders DAO, joining these groups, no one expects you to really know anything. Just join, do what you can, and learn what you can. And it's very accepting. It's a very accepting space and inclusive. There will be a space for you if you look for it. It's okay to not know everything.
Yeah, and I think I would say that that's been my experience too. I mean, when I first ventured into my first NFT crypto Web3 space, Twitter space, they were all very welcoming, and they saw me. Oh, Bobby, who's this guy? This is before everyone had this. I'm an OG verified blue. This is Twitter person with 500,000 followers. So when they saw me, hey, come up on stage, and I was like, okay, sure, but I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm just here to learn. But they were very nice and they answered all my basic questions. So I appreciated that. And I think that's why this has been such a great space. I think there's going to be great value for people with the replay after this. So people should definitely check it out. And I'm open to having more of these, not even just in the weekly Power of Connection chat at 11 a.m. on Mondays, but Heather and I were hosting one actually on Saturdays way back in the day. I'm not sure if I have the bandwidth to do it again on a regular basis, but I think I'd be happy to do a one-off or two with the right community and leverage all my influence and support to build that up and get a great conversation going. So that's something to keep in mind. We're at the hour and a half mark, guys, so I think we're going to close up today. I do want to thank Sami for being here. I want to thank Rachel, Paul, Sterling, Josh, all the people who came on stage to be part of this. Feel free to follow me, follow Sami, follow Indra. Melanie, our other co-host, had left. Indra, I'll let you. Sorry, Josh, you had something quick to say?
Yeah, Bobby, real quick. You said you're an OG Blue Check?
That's right.
We're a dying race, sir. I'm an OG 08.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I'm like, look, you got gold, you got gray. Just have two different blues, man.
I know.
It doesn't make sense. But whatever. I digress. That's a whole other conversation.
We're elders.
Yeah, exactly. Makes me feel old. But Indra, I'd love for you to share just to end off. What are your final thoughts for today, and then I'll close off as well.
Well, thank you, Bobby. It has been a great space because so much information has been covered here for newbies, for people that have kind of got their little toes wet so far, and also for people that are already in there. Thank you so much for everybody sharing, for asking questions, for also putting information in the chat. And I feel like it's been a great journey. I certainly have learned so much more than when I first started. So grateful for this space. And if there's anybody around on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm hosting a space, and it's an introvert space with my beta mod, and we're talking about navigating life. So until next time, sending you all love, light, and blessings.
Thanks, Indra. And again, one of the reasons why I like the Power of Connection is the Power of Connection is not just about learning how to connect with others. It's about actually connect with yourself. And so we connect with others by learning and sharing our knowledge and expertise. We connect with others by teaching one another and being a supportive network. I'm a big believer in community. I have another community called the Thought Leadership Brand Club community, which is where Melanie, our other co-host, is from. And, you build those communities because we rise by lifting others, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. And so if we're willing to help each other out, we're all going to get to that next level. So if you guys want to learn more about how I do that and how I help people, you can certainly follow me here. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can even follow me on Twitter Twitter and Instagram and even TikTok now, because I started doing stuff there. But for me, Twitter and LinkedIn are the two main places where I do most of my content creation and whatnot. So I just want to thank everyone for being here. The Power Connection is, again, connect with yourself, connect with others, connect with the world, to create a better place, a better space, and that's why we host these spaces. So with that, thank you everyone for being here. The replay will be available. Make sure you share it with friends and colleagues. Share your 1, 2, or 3 tips. It's a great way to get the love, right? You take the 1, 2, or 3 things you learned from the space, you take a photo of this thing, you share it on Instagram, you share it on LinkedIn, you share it on Twitter, and everyone's going to be better off for it. So hope to see you guys again next week. But with that, I wish you all the best. Have a fantastic and safe week, and we'll talk soon. Take care. So long.